The courtroom was silent. Every eye turned to the small girl standing at the center. She looked so young, too young to be in a place like this. Her black hoodie was too big. Her shoes were old and torn. Her face was pale. But her eyes, they were strong, cold, watching. Her name was Lena Carter. She was just 17 years old, and she was standing trial for a serious crime. Some people whispered, "Is that the girl who stole the money?" "No, she's the one who helped her mother cover up the fraud. I heard she threatened someone. Everyone thought the same thing. She must be guilty." But Lena didn't cry. She didn't look scared. She just stood there. The judge, a tall man with silver hair and sharp eyes, watched her carefully. His name was Judge Williams. He had seen many cases in his life, but something about this one felt different. He looked down at the file in front of him. "Lena Carter, you are accused of helping your mother commit fraud, hiding evidence, and refusing to cooperate with police. Do you understand the charges?" Lena nodded slowly. "Yes." "You are also accused of lying under oath in a previous hearing. Do you wish to say anything?" Lena looked around the courtroom. Her mother was not there. She was gone. Dead. And no, one knew the truth. Lena looked the judge in the eye, but still, she didn't speak. The room waited. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 15. The judge leaned forward. "Miss Carter, you have the chance to speak. I suggest you use it. If you stay silent, this court may decide your fate without your voice." Lena's hands were shaking, but she forced them to stay still. She didn't cry. She never cried. Not in front of them. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was quiet, but clear. "You all think I'm a criminal, but you don't know anything." Gasps in the courtroom. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Then tell us. What don't we know?" Lena looked down at the wooden floor. Her eyes found a small scratch on the edge of the table. She stared at it like it would help her speak. She took a deep breath. "You think I was helping my mother do something wrong?" she said. "But she was trying to stop it. She was trying to protect someone." The judge frowned. "Protect who?" Lena raised her eyes. Her voice was louder now. "Me." Silence again. She continued. "My mom was scared. She didn't tell me much, but I heard things, late at night when she thought I was asleep." Lena's mind flashed back. Dark room, cold apartment, her mom whispering on the phone. "Please, just give me time. I did what you asked. Now leave us alone." My daughter. She can't know. Lena was 15 then. She didn't understand it all, but she knew her mother was in trouble. The judge looked down at his notes. "You say your mother was protecting you, but from what?" Lena didn't answer right away. She looked at the corner of the courtroom where an older man sat, arms crossed. He wore a clean suit, a soft smile. But Lena saw past it. Brian Holloway, her mother's boss. The man who visited their apartment at night. The man who made her mom cry. The man who never wanted the truth to come out. Lena pointed at him. "Ask him." Brian looked surprised. "Me? What are you? This is ridiculous." The judge turned to him. "Do you know this girl?" Brian cleared his throat. "I mean, I knew her mother. She worked under me. But this girl, she's confused. She doesn't know what she's talking about." Lena spoke again, louder now. "He came to our house. He told my mom to take the blame. He said it would be easier for her than for him. She said no, so he threatened her." Judge Williams raised a hand. "That's a serious claim. Do you have proof?" Lena reached into her coat. The guard stepped forward, but she only pulled out a folded piece of paper. She handed it to her lawyer, who gave it to the judge. The judge opened it slowly. It was an old, crumpled letter, handwritten. His eyes scanned the words. "You said you would protect me if I stayed quiet. I did everything you asked, Brian, but now my daughter is asking questions. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I don't want her to be hurt because of my mistakes. The judge looked up. The room was frozen. Brian stood up. Anyone could have written that. This proves nothing. Lena stared at him. She signed the letter. Look at the bottom. The judge looked again. There it was. Melanie Carter, Lena's mother. Tears filled Lena's eyes now. But she didn't let them fall. She wouldn't. Not yet. The judge looked pale. This letter, it was hidden? Lena nodded. Under her bed, in a box with old photos. She wrote it before she died. The room went still. No one knew what to say. The judge leaned back in his chair. He looked tired now, confused. Lena spoke again. Soft this time. You all saw a poor girl with no father, a mother with secrets, and you decided we must be guilty. But no one ever asked why. A woman in the back wiped her eyes. Another person whispered, maybe she's telling the truth. Lena looked down at her hands. They were still shaking, but this time not from fear, from relief. She had finally said it, the truth, or at least the beginning of it. The judge slowly closed the letter. He stared at Lena for a long time. Then he said quietly, this court will take a short break, and then we will hear everything. Lena sat down, and for the first time in 2 years, she felt hope. The break was over. People returned to their seats. Some looked confused, others looked nervous. The air in the courtroom felt heavy, like something big was about to happen. Lena, Carter stood again. She was no longer just a quiet girl in a hoodie. Now people were watching her with a different look, a look of curiosity and fear. Even the judge, who once stared at her with cold eyes, now looked uncertain. Judge Williams took a deep breath. Miss Carter, you said your mother wrote this letter before she passed away. You said she was afraid. You said Mr. Brian Holloway threatened her. Is there anything else we need to know? Lena looked around. She saw her lawyer. She saw the crowd. She saw Brian still sitting in the back row with tight lips, pretending to be calm, but his hand was shaking. Then she spoke, and her words made the entire courtroom freeze. She didn't just write one letter. Gasps. Someone in the crowd whispered, "There are more?" Lena nodded slowly. She left a notebook. She wrote everything in it, names, dates, what she did, what they made her do. Judge Williams leaned forward. "Where is this notebook?" Lena took a moment before answering. Her voice was low but firm. "It's with someone I trust. I didn't bring it today. I was scared it would disappear like she did." The room went silent. For a moment, no one moved. Then the judge asked carefully, "Why do you say disappear? Do you believe your mother's death was not natural?" Lena looked at him, eyes full of sadness and anger. "I know it wasn't." Whispers spread through the courtroom again. She continued, her voice stronger now. "They said it was a heart attack, but I saw her that night. She was healthy. She had no problems. She was planning to leave the city with me. She was scared, but she was ready." Lena looked down for a moment, then raised her head. "She told me to pack a bag. She said we'd leave after she talked to someone one last time." Judge Williams asked softly, "Who was she going to meet?" Lena turned and pointed at Brian. "He called that night. She didn't want to go, but he said it would be quick. Just a talk." Lena's hands balled into fists. She never came back. The room exploded. Voices shouted, some in disbelief, some in anger. The judge slammed his gavel. "Order! Order in the courtroom!" Brian stood up, red in the face. "She's making this up. She's trying to blame me for her mother's death. To save herself." Judge Williams raised a hand. "Sit down, Mr. Holloway." Brian hesitated, but sat. Lena didn't flinch. "I'm not saving myself. I'm saving my mother's name." The judge looked at her, then back at Brian. "Miss Carter," he said slowly, "do you have any physical evidence linking Mr. Holloway to that night?" Lena pulled out something from her pocket, a small object, a USB drive. She held it up. "My mom's laptop was taken the day after she died, but I backed up some files the night before. She didn't know I did it. I had a feeling." The judge motioned for the bailiff to take it. Lena handed it over. "I don't know what's on it," she said, "but I saw her typing something. I remember the file name. If something happens to me..." The crowd went quiet again. Dead. Quiet. Brian was frozen. Judge Williams gave the USB to the courtroom tech team. "We'll check it during recess," he said. "Until then, tell us what you remember hearing your mother say." Lena nodded. Her voice slowed, but every word hit hard. She said she made mistakes, that she signed papers without knowing what they were, that people like Brian used her name to hide money. But when she found out, she wanted to tell someone. Lena looked directly at Brian. She said the judge helped cover it once, just once, and after that, she was stuck. They told her if she ever spoke, I would be taken away. The judge's eyes widened. "Excuse me?" he asked. Lena turned to him. "She said your name, sir. I didn't believe it then. I thought she was scared, just saying things. But after she died, I started looking." The judge's face changed. His hands were stiff, his lips tight. "What exactly did she say?" he asked, barely above a whisper. Lena didn't hesitate. She said, "Even the judge said it was just a small mistake. He told Brian to clean it up quietly. He promised me it wouldn't happen again." The judge sat back in his chair. He looked like he had just been hit in the chest. Gasps filled the room. Reporters began scribbling notes. One woman in the audience burst into tears. The judge slowly took off his glasses and rubbed his forehead. "Miss Carter," he said after a long pause, "if what you're saying is true, this goes deeper than just you or your mother." Lena nodded. "I know." The judge looked around the room, at the court reporters, at the press. He whispered to himself, "What did we do?" The courtroom stayed silent for a long time. Everyone was still. Even the judge, who had once been firm and proud, now looked unsure, like a man who had seen a ghost. Lena stood tall, even though her legs were shaking. Her hands were cold, but her voice was clear. Then she did something no one expected. She raised her hand and pointed at someone sitting near the front. Gasps filled the room. Not Brian this time. Another man, older, balding, wearing glasses and a smooth black coat. Lena spoke, slow and calm. "That's the man who visited our apartment the night before my mother died." All eyes turned toward him. The man didn't move. He didn't blink. He just stared at Lena, expressionless. The judge leaned forward. "You're saying he came to your home that night?" Lena nodded. "Yes. I remember his voice, his cough, his shoes. They were loud on the floor. I was hiding in the kitchen. I saw his face in the dark." The judge narrowed his eyes. "Do you know his name?" Lena's voice didn't shake. "Yes. His name is Malcolm Reed." Gasps again. A lawyer sitting in the back dropped his pen. One of the reporters stood up in shock. Judge Williams's face turned pale. He knew the name. Malcolm Reed was not just anyone. He was the assistant district attorney. He had worked with the judge for years, helped close hundreds of cases. He was trusted, respected, feared, and now accused. The judge spoke carefully. "Mr. Reed, do you have anything to say?" Malcolm slowly stood. He smiled, but it was a cold smile. Not warm, not kind. "Your Honor, I have no idea what this girl is talking about. I've never been to her home. I never even met her mother." Lena didn't look away. "That's a lie." The judge turned to Lena. "Are you sure it was him?" "Yes." Malcolm raised his hands. This is ridiculous. She has no proof. Just stories. She's trying to protect herself by throwing names. Lena reached into her coat pocket again. But this time, it wasn't a USB. It was a photo. She passed it to the bailiff, who handed it to the judge. The judge looked at it. Then his face changed. He went completely still. People leaned in, curious. "What is it?" someone whispered. Lena spoke, her voice trembling now. "That's a photo from our hallway camera. My mom hid it in a folder under the sink. It's from the night before she died." The judge held the photo higher so everyone could see. It showed a blurry image, but clear enough. A man in a black coat, bald head, shiny shoes, Malcolm Reed, standing at Lena's front door, looking directly into the camera. He froze. Everyone saw it. The photo didn't lie. Reporters clicked their cameras. Someone gasped. "He lied under oath." Malcolm's hands dropped to his sides. His face was turning red. "Your Honor," he said quickly, "this photo doesn't prove anything. I visit many homes. I don't even remember this." The judge stood up slowly. His voice was low but strong. "Malcolm, you just said you've never been to her home. Now you say you don't remember?" Malcolm opened his mouth, then closed it. No answer. Lena stepped forward. Her voice was louder now. "I didn't understand everything at first, but after my mom died, I started looking. I found the notebook. I found the names." She took a deep breath. There were 3 names. She pointed again. Brian, Holloway, Malcolm Reed. Then she turned to the bench, and her eyes locked on the judge. He froze. "And you, Your Honor." The courtroom exploded. Everyone shouted at once. "No way!" "Is this true?" "The judge." "She's accusing the judge." Reporters ran. To the doors, phones out. Court officers rushed in. Judge Williams did not speak. He did not blink. He just looked at Lena, like he had aged 20 years in 20 seconds. Lena's lawyer stepped forward. "Your Honor, my client has just made a direct accusation. Given the photo and statements, I ask that the current judge recuse himself from the case." The judge said nothing for a long time. Then, with a deep sigh, he reached for his gavel. Tap, tap, tap. "This court will take another recess," he said quietly. "I need to speak to the legal board." He stood up and walked out, shoulders heavy, face pale. Lena sat down again. The courtroom buzzed around her, chaos, cameras, confusion, but inside her, she felt quiet. She had carried the truth for so long, and now it was out. But she also knew this was just the beginning, because the people she named were powerful, and powerful people don't fall quietly. The courtroom was in chaos. People whispered loudly. Reporters sent out messages. The judge had just left. Malcolm Reed was still standing, his face pale. And Lena? She sat in her chair, holding her mother's photo in her hands. Her heart was racing. She had just named 3 powerful men, and now everything felt uncertain. Suddenly, the courtroom doors opened. Everyone turned to look. A new judge walked in, an older woman wearing dark robes. Her eyes were sharp. Her face was calm, but firm. "This hearing is not over," she said clearly. "Judge Williams has stepped aside. I, Judge Hamilton, will now continue this case." Lena sat up straighter. Judge Hamilton looked around. "After reviewing the evidence and hearing the accusations, I have decided to bring in a new witness. Someone who contacted the court privately." Whispers. "A new witness?" Judge Hamilton turned to the side door. "You may enter now." The door opened, and Lena's eyes widened. Her jaw dropped. Her hands began to shake. It was a woman, tall, wearing dark glasses, walking slowly, but with purpose. Lena stood up without even thinking. She stared at the woman like she was seeing a ghost. Because she was. "Mom?" The courtroom gasped. People stood up. Reporters ran forward. Someone yelled, "Is that the woman who was supposed to be dead?" Judge Hamilton slammed her gavel. Order in the court. The woman removed her glasses. It was her, Emma Carter, Lena's mother, alive. Lena ran toward her, but guards gently held her back. Emma looked at her daughter and smiled sadly. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I had to disappear. I had no choice." Lena's knees nearly gave out. Her lawyer caught her. The judge spoke again. "Miss Emma Carter, please take the stand." Emma walked slowly to the witness seat. Lena sat back down, eyes full of tears. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. The mother she thought was gone had returned, and she was about to speak. Testimony. Begins. Judge Hamilton looked at Emma. "Miss Carter, we were told you died 2 years ago. Would you please explain what happened?" Emma took a deep breath. Her voice was shaky, but clear. "They told the world I died. But I didn't. I was drugged. My body was taken. I woke up in a cabin outside the city with a note." "A note?" the judge asked. Emma nodded. It said, "Just stay quiet, or your daughter dies next." Gasps again. Emma looked at Lena with pain in her eyes. "They made me disappear. They erased me from everything. Bank records, IDs. It was like I never existed." "Free." Judge leaned forward. "Who is they?" Emma closed her eyes, then said 3 names. Brian Holloway, Malcolm Reed, Judge Williams. "They used my name in illegal deals. I found out. I told Brian I wanted out. He said no one gets out. I said I'd go public." Emma's hands gripped the edge of the witness stand. The next day, I was gone. The courtroom was completely silent. No one moved. Judge Hamilton asked, "Why come back now?" Emma looked at Lena. "Because my daughter is brave. She spoke when no one else would. She brought my voice back." Tears ran down Lena's face. The judge continued, "Do you have proof of what you're saying?" Emma reached into her coat. She pulled out a notebook. The notebook. The one Lena had mentioned. Emma held it up. "This has every detail, every deal, every threat, names, dates, even voice recordings on a chip inside." The courtroom erupted again. Emma passed the notebook to the bailiff. Judge Hamilton held it carefully. She turned to Malcolm Reed. "Do you have anything to say?" Malcolm didn't answer. He just sat there, silent, ashamed, defeated. A mother's message. The judge looked at Lena. "Miss Carter, you were very brave. Your mother's appearance changes everything. We will investigate each name you mentioned. The law will do its job." Lena nodded, her voice shaking. "I just wanted the truth," she whispered. Emma smiled at her daughter. "You brought the truth," she said. "And you brought me back." Lena finally stood and walked to her mother. This time no one stopped her. They hugged, tight, long, and full of tears. The courtroom watched in silence. No one said a word. Because in that moment, justice had just begun, but the fight wasn't over yet. Because not all guilty men go down easily. And power doesn't give up without a fight. The courtroom was still full of shock. Lena and her mother, Emma, were sitting together now, holding hands. It felt like a dream. People were crying. Some were angry. Some just sat frozen. And then Brian Holloway stood up. He didn't say anything. He didn't look at anyone. He just slowly backed away from his seat, step by step, toward the courtroom door. The guards didn't notice at first. The judge was reading Emma's notebook. Malcolm Reed sat with his head down. Everything felt calm. Until Brian reached the back door and tried to run. "Hey!" someone shouted. "Stop him!" Brian pushed open the door and ran into the hallway. Reporters jumped up. Guards turned. Chaos broke out again. Lena stood. "He's running!" Emma's face filled with fear. "He's trying to get away!" 2 court officers chased after him. People rushed to the windows. But Brian was fast. He dashed through the courthouse halls like a man who had everything to lose, because he did. For a second, it looked like he might escape, until a tall man stepped into the hallway and blocked his path. Brian skidded to a stop. His eyes went wide. "You," he said. The man was calm, dressed in a dark suit. Quiet but strong, he pulled out a badge. FBI. Gasps. Brian's face turned white. More agents stepped out from behind the walls, guns ready. "You're under arrest, Mr. Holloway," the agent said, "for conspiracy, fraud, witness tampering, and attempted murder." Brian tried to run again. Too late. They tackled him to the ground. Handcuffs clicked. He shouted, "You don't know who I am! I have connections!" The agent leaned down. "We do know who you are. That's exactly why you're going to prison. Back in the courtroom." The doors opened again. Everyone turned as the FBI agents walked in with Brian in chains. People cheered. Some clapped. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Lena looked at her. "You're safe now, Mom." Emma shook her head slowly. "We're just getting started, sweetheart." Judge Hamilton stood. She looked at Brian, then at Malcolm Reed, who was still sitting quietly. "This court will begin a full investigation," she said. "There will be no mercy for those who abuse the law." The FBI agent handed over a folder. "Ma'am," he said to the judge, "we've been watching Mr. Holloway and Malcolm Reed for months, but we never had enough proof. Until today, he..." Looked at Lena. "Because of her." Lena blinked. "Me?" The agent nodded. "You brought the truth forward. You spoke up. That takes more courage than most people have." Lena didn't know what to say. Her hands were shaking again, but this time from relief. The courtroom was quiet again, but not for long. Outside, cameras flashed. Reporters shouted into microphones. Inside, Lena sat with her mother, Emma. They had watched Brian get arrested. They had watched the FBI walk Malcolm away in handcuffs, but one man was still missing, Judge Williams, until now. The courtroom doors opened, and there he was, surrounded by 2 FBI agents. His robe was gone. He looked tired, old, broken. No longer the powerful man behind the bench. Just another man who had been caught. The return of the judge. Judge Hamilton sat straight as she spoke. "Bring in the defendant." The guards led Judge Williams to the stand. He didn't fight. He didn't even look up. He sat down slowly, as if his body carried too much weight. Lena watched him carefully. Her hands were clenched. Her heart beat fast. This was the man who had smiled at her in court. While hiding the biggest secret of all, Emma looked at him too, but her face showed no fear, only strength, a sudden offer. The courtroom stayed silent. Then the FBI agent stood. "We made a deal with Judge Williams," he said. Gasps. Lena's eyes narrowed. "A deal?" The agent continued. "He agreed to speak in exchange for a reduced sentence." People murmured. Some were angry, but Judge Hamilton raised a hand. "If what he says helps us uncover the full truth, then it is necessary." She turned to Judge Williams. "You may speak now." The former judge took a shaky breath, then began. "The truth comes out." "I was a young man when I met Malcolm Reed," he said. "We both started out wanting to help people. We believed in the law." He looked down. "But power changes people. Malcolm was the first to take money. I followed." He looked at Emma now. "Your mother found out. She had been tracking us for months. When she told Brian Holloway, we thought he would stay loyal. But he turned violent." Emma stayed still. "You all let him do that to me," she said quietly. "Yes," the judge whispered. "And I will never forgive myself." Then he looked at Lena. "And you? You reminded me of the law I forgot. The truth I buried." He took another breath. "There are others. Not just us 3. 5 more names. In the city council. 1 in the police department. All part of it. Lena's eyes widened. Emma leaned forward. Do you have proof? The judge nodded. It's in a locker. I wrote everything down 2 years ago when I started feeling guilty. The key is with my lawyer. Judge Hamilton nodded to the agent. Go get it, she said. 2 days had passed. The courthouse was quiet now. No more shouting. No more arrests. But one final piece of the puzzle was left. The secret locker. Judge Williams had given the FBI the key. He said it held the truth about everything, Lena and her. Mother Emma were called to the FBI building that morning. They sat in a small room. A metal box sat on the table in front of them. One FBI agent stood beside it. This is it, he said. Locker 42C. The judge said it holds documents, a USB, and a burner phone with messages. Lena's heart beat faster. Emma nodded. Open it. The truth revealed. The agent turned the key. Click. The box opened slowly. Inside were several folders, a black USB drive, and an old flip phone. He took out the folders first. Names were written in black ink. Chief Morgan, Councilman Drake, Senator Lowe. Each file had papers, bank records, photos, signed deals, hidden accounts. Lena stared. These are the people still out there, she whispered. Emma leaned over. This is enough to end them. The agent plugged the USB into his laptop. A screen appeared. Audio recordings. And not just any recordings. Conversations. Between powerful men, talking about bribes, threats, fake reports, even covering up Emma's disappearance. Lena covered her mouth. One recording played Brian's voice. She's a risk. Take care of her before she opens her mouth again. Emma froze. That was the day I disappeared, she said. The room fell silent. The phone. Then the agent turned on the burner phone. It had one folder. Videos. He tapped one. It showed a hidden camera in a dark office. Judge Williams, Malcolm Reed, Brian Holloway, and 3 unknown men. They were laughing, counting money, signing fake contracts. Emma pointed. That's Councilman Drake, and that's Senator Lowe. Lena's face was hard now. No more running. 1 year later, spring flowers bloomed. The city felt different now, cleaner, brighter, freer. It had been 1 full year since Lena and her mother Emma stood in court and told the world the truth. In that time, Brian Holloway was sentenced to life. In prison, Judge Williams entered witness protection after testifying against powerful men. Malcolm Reed lost everything and now faced 25 years behind bars. 5 other corrupt leaders were arrested and removed from office. Justice was served, but Lena and Emma had chosen a quiet life since then. No TV shows, no interviews, no books, just peace. Lena's new life. Lena was now in college. She studied law. She wanted to help others the way she once needed help. Emma worked part-time at a small law office. She smiled more. She no longer looked over her shoulder. They had a small apartment. Nothing fancy. But it was home. One day, Lena came home from school with a small package in her hands. Mom, she called. Emma walked out of the kitchen wiping her hands. What's that? Lena shrugged. It's a letter. No return address. It was hand-delivered to the office. Emma's face turned serious. Open it. The letter. Lena sat down and carefully opened the package. Inside was a plain envelope, no name, just one word written across it. Hope. She opened it. There was a letter inside. Typed. It read, Dear Lena and Emma, you don't know me, but I know you. Last year I was part of something dark. I worked under one of the people you helped bring down. I was scared. I stayed silent. But when I saw what you both did, how you spoke the truth, how you stood strong, I changed. I quit my job. I told the truth. I helped the investigation from behind the scenes. And now I want you to know, You didn't just save yourselves. You saved me too. Thank you for giving people like me hope. A friend tears and smiles. Emma read the letter. Her hands trembled slightly. Lena was quiet. Then she said softly, "We didn't even know someone was watching." Emma looked at her daughter. That's the power of truth. It reaches hearts, even in silence. They sat together for a moment. No words, just feeling. Then Lena smiled. "I want to do more, Mom. Help others like her, like us." Emma nodded. "You will." The final scene. The next day, Lena returned to campus. She walked past the library, the cafe, the student center. Everything felt normal, but she felt stronger, wiser. She passed a wall with posters. Law and Justice Club. New members. "Welcome!" She stopped, tore a piece of paper from her notebook, wrote 3 simple words, then pinned it to the board. "Tell the truth." As she walked away, 2 students stopped to read it. Then another, and another. And just like that,